All right, having a quorum present, we can begin the meeting. The first order on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the prior meeting on January 21, 2020. May I have a motion to approve, please?
I move that we approve the minutes.
A second.
Councilman Smith, second.
All right. Any questions, comments, or discussion on the minutes?
None for me, thank you.
All right, hearing none, the secretary call for the vote, please.
Mayor King.
My apologies, I was still trying to get this thing situated.
So Mayor, how do you vote?
I'm sorry, I missed where we're at. Where are we at on the agenda?
We are voting on the minutes from the prior meeting.
We only see one person. So, I vote yay on the minutes.
All right. Steve, did you hear that?
Okay.
Can't hear you.
Council Representative Smith.
Yes, sir.
Do you approve the minutes?
Yes, sir. Yay.
Ms. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mr. David. Ms. Morgan. Yes. Ms. Matei Smith.
Yes. All right, having a quorum of the commission, the minutes have been approved. We're going to move to the report of the financial supervisor. So my suggestion for this portion of the meeting is that we all mute until the presentation is done, or if you have a question that you feel you need to ask during it, but leave it muted unless you're actually going to ask a question. It'll help everybody hear it much more clearly. All right, Tisha, you have the floor.
Afternoon, everyone, and happy Thursday. I sent you earlier in the week the financial packet for the city of East Cleveland for the month of April. Does everyone happen to have it in front of them? Okay, I will assume yes, unless someone unmutes and tells me no. Okay. As you can see, on page 1 of the packet, the city of East Cleveland reconciled the end of April with just over $5.1 million. On the bottom of that page are the municipal court bank accounts, and you can see the extra accounts are still open, and they have a balance of $7. Yeah. And the regular municipal court accounts have a balance of $445,000. Once again, these are not the reconciled balances. These are just straight off of the bank statements. If I could direct your attention to page 2 of the packet. This is a summary of all the funds ending balances at April 30th. You can see currently the city has 4 funds with a deficit. All but 3 of those are reimbursable grants. The street fund, there is a $226,000 transfer already appropriated in the general fund to be made to the street fund. The city knew the street fund's revenues would not cover their current year appropriations without an additional transfer from the general fund. But with the pandemic and the stay-at-home order, the finance director is currently evaluating if that transfer will be enough to cover current appropriations. Currently, based on my conversation with him, with what we know right now, and the hope that by June everyone is back to going to work, so far the transfer could be increased by approximately $50,000 from the general fund. You will notice on this page that the general fund ends the month of April with just over a $1.8 million balance.
Hey, Tisha, sorry, I'm going to interrupt a minute to ask everybody to mute their microphones for the time being. Thank you.
Page 3 of the packet represents a summary of all the funds as of April 30th, 2020. So I'll give you a few seconds to review that, and then we'll go on to page 4. Page 4. Page 4 compares the estimated revenues with the actual revenues received as of April 30th. With 4 months of the year already expired, the city should see approximately 33% of the estimated resources coming in, approximately 33%. Most of the larger variances that you see on the page are the reimbursable grants. So funds like FEMA and the home program, you'll see that dollar-wise, FEMA is $182 million, and the home program is about $108,000. Those are reimbursable grants. So the revenues follow the expenditures.
All right, sorry. Tisha,
okay.
Sorry again.
That's okay.
I'm not sure who has not heard me, but you need to mute your microphone. We're picking up just some very difficult sounds in the background. It's making it very hard for us to hear Tisha's report. So please mute your microphones. Thank you. Go ahead, Tish.
Okay. The other funds, the city has not made the appropriated transfers as of yet to some of the funds. Those include the street fund that I mentioned earlier, the police pension fund, as well as the permanent improvement fund. Once these transfers are factored into this calculation, those funds are pretty much on target as of April 30th. Please remember that in regards to the street fund, these revenues are based upon when the state collects, then distributes those gas taxes. As of April 30th, the effect of that shutdown is not reflected in the distributions as of yet. There's a timing between when you go to the gas station and you put gas in your car and you pay a part of your fee as that tax, is then collected, is distributed to the state, who then distributes it to the city. There's a time lag between that. So as of April 30th, the city hasn't seen the reflection of that decrease due to the shutdown. The city is just starting to see that effect with their May receipt from gas. And so we're thinking that, I believe that the May receipt close to 4,000 to 5,000 from the average of what the city received in January and February. In talking with the finance director, we kind of calculated that. We think that's from the partial shutdown that happened in March. The next one is the self-insurance healthcare fund. This is an internal service fund. So as the city pays for healthcare claims and the premium, this fund will charge the other governmental funds of the city to reimburse itself. So as the claims and the premiums are paid, that is what will drive the revenue in this fund. Okay, page 5 portrays similar information as page 4. It's just on the other side of the equation, and those are the expenditures. Again, as of April 30th, approximately 33% of the appropriations should be expended. For some of the larger percentage variances, you'll notice in the general fund, Parks and Recreation is already at 50%. Those expenditures include approximately $43,000 for paint and repairs to be done at the Martin Luther King Civic Center. The other one under the general fund is the service department. And those expenditures include approximately $33,000 for tree removal. The next one under the general fund is the law department. And there were some large healthcare costs that happened. The street fund is also a fund that is above the 33% mark, not by much, but it is above the 33% mark. And those expenditures include approximately $19,000 in traffic signal and light repairs, $14,000 in street sign purchases, $83,000 in salts and de-icer purchases, and around $15,000 in repairs for various pieces of equipment. The remaining pages of the packet just reflect the details of all the funds. So this concludes my initial report. So I will see if you guys have any questions.
If you have a question for Tisha, please unmute. Councilman Smith, well, perhaps Mayor King, you can tell me what his phone number is, because I don't have his name and I've muted all the phone numbers that I don't have a name for.
Thank you for muting all of those phone numbers. It was beginning to be unbearable. Let me check my phone to see if I can get you his number.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Chairwoman, I have his number. It's
Okay.
278-6604. Not sure where he went. Well, maybe.
I don't see him on.
Yeah, I don't see him on his cell phone either. That's the cell phone I have for him. I'll try calling him.
Okay. Well, I think, I think we can move on while you're doing that, Mayor. If there's no questions for Tisha, we can move on to the next item on the agenda. So the next item on the agenda I have is old business, which is the lease purchase agreements for the city. They have gotten some updated information and wanted to talk about the possibility of looking into the lease purchase agreements and status and when we might be able to move on those. So Mayor King, do you want to speak to that? If he's
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairwoman. So I just called the councilman and I got no answer. So I'm not sure if any of those numbers coincide with him or not.
Okay.
However, I thank you for allowing me to at least have these conversations. So we got two separate leases, and I'd like to start with the one I believe is a no-brainer. And wait a minute. I want to start with the one I believe is a no-brainer and something that I believe we could, committee willing, pass today. And that is the lease for the Caterpillar equipment. Now, I've been working on this lease and this piece of equipment for over a year. I've been working on it since the fall of 2018 because the equipment will essentially be used for the summer season, which is upon us. It's for a Caterpillar equipment, and it's to be used to help us provide services through the service department. And one of those services, of course, is grass cutting, as we have overgrown grass all over the city. Now, the reason I believe this will be a no-brainer, Chairwoman, is because this money is directly reimbursable through the sewer district and the city's cost share funds with them. And to date, we have $107,000 in that account. They've already approved the lease. They've already approved the funds. All we have to do is spend the money, submit a request for the drawdown, and they do it. And right now, I believe we're at a zero drawdown. So I believe the last drawdown we had, they paid. As you'll remember, we have another piece of equipment through this same process, and annually that lease is a little less than $25,000. This lease will be less than $25,000. So together, they're about $50,000. We make over $100,000 annually through this cost share. We make about $10,000 a month, and right now there's $107,000 in there. So I understand, and we've been back and forth with this, but I understand your concern and wanting to take a closer look at the numbers and how this COVID is eventually going to affect our finances. So that's fine. However, with this, because it is time sensitive, season sensitive, I think this one we could do this one. So I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
So, Mayor King, I'm wondering, the last I heard from the AOS, they did not have all the documentation they needed in order to prepare a presentation on this and impact on this, as well as, I think one of the things Tisha was looking for was the actual amortization schedule to know how much it would be each year. We've not seen that.
So I think Tisha had that. I think the one she was looking for was for the Tahoe lease, which are the police vehicles. And we can we can bring that back next month as the finance become a little more clear. But this one, she has all of the documentation, and it is all current with the dates.
Tisha, can you speak to that? Because we've not seen it as the commission.
The mayor has provided me with the CAT lease, but I don't have the forecast regarding, because the permanent improvement fund requires a transfer from the general fund, and I had asked the city to update their 5-year forecast so I can see the effect of these additional leases to the general fund, and I've not gotten that yet. So I've not had a chance to do the permanent improvement fund amortization.
So this lease, I'm hoping that we all remember these are leases that I talked about last year. So we actually put in the permanent appropriations at about $22,000 a year. It's already allotted for in the permanent appropriations.
I had thought it was, okay. I guess I need to, this is part of why it's difficult to do this at the last minute without the documentation, because I thought that there was, that we had not necessarily allotted the transfer from the general fund to the permanent improvement fund at that time.
So remember, we did the CAT, we did the 2 police Tahoes, and then we did that ambulance, which was about $600,000. Now I haven't even brought that up because I know that's a mountain that we just can't afford to even climb right now. However, because I need to provide the quality of services and maintain the grass, that's the only reason I'm bringing this up. And again, it's 100% reimbursable from the sewer district, and they already approved the financing for it.
And this Caterpillar, this is the one at a cost of, is it 90-some thousand?
I think it's 90,000 or 120, but the sewer district has already approved it. Council has already passed the legislation approving it. So it's just, I need the final go ahead to execute. And again, the money is sitting at the sewer district.
So, Mayor, I'm more than willing to, if we could at least get paperwork to look at, to come back in a week or two to do the vote. I would much prefer that the commission actually have some paperwork to review. Are you agreeable to that?
Yes. I know sometimes I get a little anxious, but I am. And I think you at least had a conversation on it. So
yeah. No, I'm fine. You know, especially with the online type meeting, I'm very comfortable with trying to do those because we could do that as a special meeting with the one item on the agenda be done in less than a half an hour probably to vote. So if you're willing to do that, I think that would be the best, and just make sure Tisha has the last of the information she needs and she can get it out to the commission. And after she has it, I'll try to schedule a quick meeting for, say, 2 to 4 days after that, depending on when it comes in.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from other commission members?
None from me, but I think Charles had a comment or wanted to have something to say. He had his hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry, Charles. I missed that.
That's all right. I was really just trying to inform you that Councilor Smith's number, so you know who to unmute.
Okay.
His number is 216-926-6824.
Okay. I will get him unmuted here. If I can.
Thank you. I'd also like to add, if I could, that Mayor King we'll look forward to seeing that paperwork, for the Caterpillar equipment that's going to cut grass and do, any number of other functions around town, because it is getting, spring is here and the grass is high all over the place. If you have other bits of equipment or things that you are going to be bringing forward, please bring the paperwork forward with that as well, because, this is going to be our reality for a while, and it would be very helpful to have that paperwork well ahead of time so we can go ahead and just march right through.
Thank you so much. So what I'll do is I'll get Tish a recopy of all of this, because it's actually come in front of the commission before, and I think it was last week Tish sent out an email because she noticed that all of the dates had expired, so I had to have the dates refreshed. So I'll reissue all of the paperwork showing that the sewer district, how much money we have there, showing the agreement with the sewer district to lease this. I'll get you the legislation from council that they've already passed approving it, and then the specs for the equipment.
That would be great. It would be lovely just to see it all in one package. And again, if you anticipate other things being brought forward, over the next couple of months, have that paperwork together too, so that we can, as we are meeting, we can march right through it and know what we're looking at and not have to delay.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to try to put together a small blurb about the Chevy Tahoe leases, because that's going to be a longer conversation, and that's quite frankly something that, so I'll try to put together paperwork and a small blurb as to why or how I think that can be sustained and paid for.
Okay.
Thank you. Bring it on.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other questions on this whole business? All right, hearing none, we're going to move on to the report of the mayor. Mayor?
So thank you, Chairwoman. I was so excited. I don't have a report. However, I would like to briefly mention our response as a city to COVID-19. We've been feeding residents through the Cleveland Food Pantry, Kelly Chapman Ministries, the McGregor, Swage Lock, the judge, a number of partners. All of council has been out to help with this. So it's been an all hands on deck approach to taking poundage, 12,000 pounds per shipment of food, boxing it, and then hand delivering it to our residents. As we mention all the time, we're 60, 65% seniors, and many of them stay in high rises. So it's been, although a lot of people have talked about how things have slowed down because of it, it's like we're working even harder now with this pandemic. We've done 2 rounds of COVID testing through our partnership with the state of Ohio and the governor's office and a Genesis reference laboratory who are actually doing the testing. And I can't thank them enough for traveling up here from as far as Cincinnati and then Columbus to do the testing. So those have been our responses to COVID-19. City Hall is closed. We don't have the capabilities really to do a lot of working from home, and we don't have any non-essential employees because we're so small but mighty. And, I guess that concludes my report unless there's any questions or concerns of me.
Does anyone have any questions for the mayor? All right, what about report from city council?
Again, I think Charles has his hand up.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
So I'm just trying to use the technology to communicate. I'm not sure does everyone see the chat feature in Teams?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make, because I did just mention to add to what the mayor, report that the city also, I'm not sure you mentioned, we just got awarded $36,460 from the Department of Justice for COVID-related, expenditures, specifically for the police department.
Okay,
Thank you for sharing that.
thank you. And those are restricted to COVID-related expenditures, right?
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Let's turn now to City Council, see if we have a report from Councilman Smith. I think you're still muted. I turned you off on my side, but it's still, I think you have your phone set to mute. All right. All right, not being able to hear the councilman, I think we need to move to the court bank accounts, which I just wanted to comment in looking at those, that the extra accounts we've been so concerned about, I'm very happy to see they're down to less than $300 and seem to be that the court is responding and trying to reduce those accounts, so that's very good. Does anybody else have any comments, questions?
Yes, I do want to speak, not necessarily on the court's bank accounts per se, but where they invited was the court. I wasn't sure. I ran into Wendy, the clerk of court this morning, and it came to me, did she even get invited to this meeting? She said she don't recall. I just want to make sure are they on the list, her and Judge Dawson on our list of communication?
No. Charles, while we're doing this online, I'm only inviting the people in direct support to the commission or members. So like you and Steve have invitations, but that's about it. That's it when it comes to staff. They need to join just by phone to hear.
Okay, I just need to know how.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to do this. So I'll let them know in the future they need to just, like you said, dial in and not expect an invite.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is determination of the next meeting date and time. I think what we've said here is that we're going to try to get the paperwork from the mayor and then schedule something once we have that. So if everybody is okay with that, we'll leave this as open. So
I'm okay with that. Thank you.
all right. So then the last item on the agenda is adjournment. Sandra, we're getting you out of here in time for your next meeting. So,
Hooray!
all right, could I have a motion for adjournment?
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
Okay, Mayor motioned, Sandra seconded. Steve, we're gonna have to call for a vote here instead of doing the voice vote since it's a little too hectic to do it. So if you could call the vote, please.
Mayor King,
Yay.
Council Representative Smith,
Can't hear him.
Ms. Armstrong,
Can't hear him.
Ms. Armstrong,
Rebecca, are you still muted?
Yeah, I voted yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Yes, we can now.
Okay. I voted yes. Rebecca's a yes.
Thank you. Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Tay Smith?
Yes. So having a quorum, this passes. We are now adjourned. Thank you all for this meeting. We're still going to learn this technology, but we'll get it. So I appreciate all of your patience as we work through some of our glitches today.
Stay safe.
All right, stay safe.
Yeah,
Thanks all.
everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.